Okay. We are recording with two cameras now, which is going to be interesting. They're going to be in my right hand. I can get this in my right hand properly. And in my left hand, I'm going to have an umbrella. And away we go. Can you guys see the snow falling? It is actually snowing. It's not sticking yet. There's some question as to whether it will stick. Yeah. It's not icy. The ground is pretty warm, so when it's hitting the ground, it's melting. But if it stays that way is another question. Hey Spike, good morning, afternoon. So we are going to walk down, hopefully, all the way to the White House. And hopefully it's not too arduous. We're expected to get about 3 inches, but we're not sure it's going to actually stick. I mean, it's sticking here on these dining pods at this restaurant, on the roof where it's cold, and it's on the grass, but not the ground. In and on top of the tents. So all of these restaurants have like heaters, tents, dining areas outside. Try to keep some form of business going. It was just getting popular in the fall, eating outside, and then, well, the numbers went back up. Whoops. Here comes a plow, but he's not actually plowing. I swear, half the time I see a snowplow, they're not actually plowing. Those little lunch houses, yeah, those are very common. Restaurants need ways to keep business going. What a pretty snow. The bars are open. The kids are debating what to do today. We, as you know, we went sledding the other day, but then later in that day there was a boy who had an accident at that same hill that we were going at, and it kind of put a damper on my kids' enthusiasm for sledding, and definitely put a damper on my wife's enthusiasm for them to go sledding. No, there's not a lot of people out in the snow, just crazy guys like me. There were a small protest in DC last night. I mean, let's put it how small, it didn't even register on my police, citizen traffic apps. They didn't seem to be that concerned. But we have protests every night. We always have protesters. I'll keep streaming on Twitter. I'll use HAPS, H-A-P-P-S. I'll be using YouTube occasionally, and even maybe Twitch. But if you follow me on Twitter, that's one of your best places, because pretty much everything goes through Twitter. There's always an alert on Twitter, whatever I use. Ugh, slushy my bush. Big slush. I'm gonna get a wet foot today. I have a really bad feeling. Where you step in like a whole thing of slush. Yeah, Twitter Live Periscope is going away. It'll be replaced by what's called Twitter Live, which is basically the same functionality as Periscope, just through the Twitter platform. Though from a broadcaster standpoint, we actually lose some features that are annoying. It is Sunday, but this church is closed. All the services are virtual. It's a beautiful snow. That's why I came out. There's a random dog playing over there. I've got my hiking shoes on. I don't really have galoshes anymore. It doesn't snow that much in DC to warrant it. But I was thinking about it the other day. How far is what? Hi. Yeah, well, I'll be visiting Hong Kong this summer. Somebody's like on their speakerphone or something. It's quiet, isn't it? Except for that bird. It's kind of slushy. Send a photo to Grandma. First meal back in Hong Kong. Well, I'm going to be in quarantine for 21 days when I arrive in Hong Kong. So for 21 days, I have to live in a hotel with my kids. That's going to be an interesting 3 weeks. As such, the first food is going to be probably carry-out. In fact, well, I'm not sure. We'll have one of our friends in Hong Kong maybe help us get a care package of food so we have something to eat while we're in the hotel suffering. The White House is a while. We're going to be, I'm debating, do you guys think I should I go the direct fastest route, which is down Embassy Road that you guys seen a dozen times, or should I go through Georgetown, which is probably a lot more scenic in the snow? Oh shoot, I didn't even stop to take a look. I'm kind of thinking Georgetown, yeah? I was kind of thinking Georgetown would be more interesting. Let's keep the snow here. First meal after quarantine. The kids have demanded that we go to Genki Sushi, which is a sushi chain there. I'm probably going to get some noodles and fish and chips on the first day. Some New Zealand style fish and chips. Oh, here comes the plow. Oh, he's spreading. Sounds like a rave. Somebody could put that into a dance beat, I'm sure. Yes, I do have a mask on. It's the law in the District of Columbia that we have to wear a mask in public, even if I'm not even going to see anyone, basically. Well, technically I can take it off if there's not going to be any people within 6 feet of me, I think is what the rules are. But when you walk in DC, there's always people. So you just, it's easier. And to be honest, in the cold, I don't actually mind it in the cold as much because it's keeping my face warm. I don't know. We'll see what it's like in the summer, though. There is an exemption if you are, quote, strenuously exercising. If you're strenuously exercising, you don't need to wear a mask. I'd say there's pretty good compliance in DC. Sometimes though the tourists come here, they don't know the rules. opening up. Wow, it's coming down even harder now, isn't it? Tell you what, we're going to pop over to the vice president's house, and then we'll cut over to Georgetown. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. You lost your father-in-law. And maybe we'll skip the VP's house today. Not much going on there anyway. Let's cut through this park. I like snow. I mean, it's pretty, don't you think? And it's quiet. I like the peacefulness, you know? All the news that we have, all the social media, everything that goes on, I can come out here and just sort of enjoy the silence. And of course I'm talking to you guys while I do that, but it's not like, it's fun, it's not oppressive. I enjoy, especially why I do the live streams, is I enjoy having company when I go for these walks. Well, sometimes you do catch me in reflective pauses when I'm just taking it all in. Oh, cribs in the White House? I'm sorry, I missed that one. It is hitting like rain. This is Albin Towers. This used to be a hotel. And I think Frank Sinatra stayed here, a bunch of the famous celebrities in the 30s and 40s. Some spies. Like a big Japanese spy stayed there. The FBI knew he was up to something, but they could never get him. He was a diplomat at the Japanese embassy, and he was really active spy. I don't think we're going to go through the woods today. I think it's just too muddy. So the snow that we had the other day, it melted off. So the ground is really super saturated. Oh, let's check out the little library. What books do they have? Teenage cookbook, physics, the art of breastfeeding, Raven's Gate, Catcher in the Rye. Some classics. Anyway, that's a little library. Those are all over the city. People put those up in front of their house and they have an attitude. Leave a book, take a book. Even some of the embassies put up those little libraries and they share authors from their country, which is cool. Discover new authors I've never heard of. How stupid do you think I would look if I jammed my umbrella down the back of my coat and had it just permanently over my head? Yeah, this sector I don't think is historic, but the other side of the church, it is historic. Oops, oof. Just took a big snowflake on the head. It's 32 degrees. Yeah, like a ninja sword. It's not going to work. I just tried it. I need those. I've seen umbrella hats, but they're never that big. The Super Bowl is today. We'll probably do it. I have just hiking shoes on today. So this house is for sale. I think this house is like 1.5 or 1.7 million dollars. It's brand new, renovated. It's an old, it was like a shell of a house, and then they redid the inside, so it's like $1.5 million, $1.7 million. As far as I can tell, this little brick house over here isn't actually a house. I think it's an electric like substation. So inside there is like an electric power substation or switching box or something like that. They didn't want a big ugly switching station in the neighborhood, so they put it inside like a fake house. Not sure though. The president can watch inside the White House. He has this really cool like view TV room, theater room. He can watch Super Bowl, eat nachos. Low tree. For those who want to watch along with me, we're on Wisconsin Avenue, and up ahead is a big embassy. Oof. Hello, turkey. Hello. So, over on my right, you see the white, blue, and red flag of Russia. This is the Russian embassy complex. It's not just the embassy, it's actually diplomatic housing and lots of other features. I believe it's called Mount Alto. It's one of the highest points in Washington, D.C. And I think it used to be a hospital until the Russians bought it in the 1980s. Turned it into an excellent place to monitor all communications. Hello, Boris. I'm sure you're listening right now. Of course, on the other side, the FBI has multiple cameras set up. And in fact, there's this house. Yeah, see this house? This house is not somewhere where you would go to live. This is a house you would go to if you worked for the FBI. This is an FBI observation house. It's well known, it's published on Google, that this house is where the FBI has cameras and watches the coming and goings of the Russian embassy. Now the rumor is they actually dug a tunnel from that house under the Russian embassy for purposes unknown. And some people think that's the house where you go into the tunnel. It's never been confirmed or denied by the FBI. But yeah, it's known as the FBI house on Wisconsin Avenue. Go ahead and Google it. You'll find it. It's pretty much well known. No state secrets. I don't think anyone answers if you knock on the door. Sometimes I see like Chinese food menus and pizza menus stuffed up there. They do a pretty good job cleaning it up. There's actually a guy who has a website called The Tunnels of Washington, D.C. And he has tracked like every tunnel there is in D.C. It's pretty crazy. Tunnels of DC or Washington DC tunnels. He has this like website because there's a lot of like old abandoned railroad tunnels and other wacky stuff. This is not Georgetown. This is a neighborhood known as Glover Park, which is the neighborhood next to Georgetown. So we're going to walk through Glover Park, then we'll walk through what's sort of ostensibly considered North Georgetown, and then we're going to be right into the heart of Georgetown, and we're going to turn over and make our way to the White House. So I'm taking like the indirect route because, well, it's pretty, yeah? Why should we be in a hurry? Whoa, I got a light. Red light, but I got to walk. That reminds me, I gotta give my kids a haircut today. It is snowing. It is awesome. Oh, it's a big dog. Hello, big dog. So this park is actually like almost, exclusively Russian-speaking park. Okay, the Russian embassy, unlike many other embassies, insists on families coming over and everybody working. So like the wife of a Russian diplomat will also have a job as like a secretary, or the husband of a Russian diplomat will have a job as a driver or something like that. And well, they have young kids, and they often come down to this park. In fact, over there's like a memorial to like great Russian poets. Someone donated like a little memorial set, and there's like signs for like daycare and haircuts and stuff that are actually in Russian. It's kind of funny. And I'm sure our friends at the FBI know all about it. Is basically, if I see a young woman with a child with like blue eyes and blonde hair down here, you know, it's just like, hey, privet, you know. They're almost always Russians. So we're in the Glover Park neighborhood. There's a few restaurants here. My favorite is here's Rockland's. That's the barbecue joint over there. And when they get the grill going, it just puts this smell over the whole street. Mnogo. I speak like, I used to have a few Russian words. You know, I could say, you know, spasibo and stuff like that. I used to be able to say I don't speak Russian in Russian. Because when I would go to Russia, and I was like a big guy, I used to be a lot heavier, yeah? And I'd wear like this black leather jacket, and I'd have this big face, and it'd look like this big goon, and everybody would come up and talk to me in Russian. I'm just like, I ain't Russian, dude. I may dress like some mafia guy, but I'm not. I have seen some of the Americans. I haven't watched all the seasons. But I had a project in Moscow, and I used to go to Moscow about every 6 weeks, and Kazan and Sarov. So this place here, speaking of Russians, good guys. I try to keep this family friendly, but let's just put it this way. A bunch of single men really like going to Good Guys the night before they get married, if you know what I mean. Anyway, that's the closest place for that sort of entertainment to the Russian embassy, and the Russians like to come down here and you know, be entertained. And in the old days, in the Cold War, you used to be over here and you would just see Ford Oldsmobiles, you know, standard government issue, Secret Service, FBI type cars. And the FBI guys would be trailing the KGB guys. The KGB guys would be in there drinking vodka shots, and the FBI guys out here eating like McDonald's. They get kind of grumpy. Down there, by the way, is the back door to the vice president's house. So the vice presidents can sneak out this back door should they want to get barbecue or something else. Now they're clearing the street. When I was in Russia, I had many translators working with me, translators and drivers and such. Oh, Biden, I'm not sure which donut shop Obama and Biden went to. I know they went to an ice cream shop. We're actually going to pass the Biden-Obama favorite ice cream shop in about 15 minutes or so. This is Glover Park. We're making our way into Georgetown, and then from Georgetown we'll go to Foggy Bottom, and then from Foggy Bottom we'll be into downtown and the White House. I would estimate our ETA at the White House is about a half hour to 40 minutes, probably closer to 40 minutes. It depends how much I stop. Our company took care of the translators. I honestly don't even know what they made. I don't even know if they translated everything correctly. Oh, what can we do in here? Oh, there's some funky furniture. Let's look at the funky furniture shop, yeah? I think it is snowing all over the DC area. Man, you can get this at IKEA. I've seen those little round balls at IKEA. What the heck is that? Is that a couch thingy? So right here, this nondescript office building is actually the Chinese visa section. If you want to go visit China, you need to get a Chinese visa, and that's where you go to get it. So in the morning, there's usually a line of people. It's also where the Chinese go to take care of things like, notaries or Chinese working papers, stuff that they need for their own government. So that's kind of like their consulate, or their consular affairs office. This building here with this quasi-security vehicle inside, this is also a diplomatic compound, but I don't know who's there right now. It switches around a lot. But this is one of the properties that like diplomats will use. The embassies are always moving around. Like one embassy decides, oh, this is too small, so they move to a bigger embassy, and then another embassy says, hey, the old embassy of Uganda is available. And then they move to the embassy of Uganda, and then the embassy of like Bermuda says, hey, our lease is going up, let's go move to that one. And then it's kind of musical chairs sometimes. Sometimes when they're renovating an embassy, they'll move to just a boring office building. So for example, the Australian embassy right now is in the National Geographic building. Australia's embassy is being redone. The host their countries pay for their rent. So a poor country doesn't want to actually have an expensive embassy. Some of the countries have bought their properties. I'll give you a funny story about that. So the United States has an incredible consulate in Hong Kong, right downtown Hong Kong. It's a piece of property that's easily worth a couple $billion. Billion with a B. But the United States has a 999-year lease on the land. 999 years. Now, why did they take out a 999-year lease on the land there? And how did they afford to pay for it? Answer is, they really didn't, okay? What they did is they took a 999-year lease, they calculated how much rent that would be, and then we just knocked that off Britain's World War II bill. Yeah? Because the British owed us money for World War II, quite a bit. And 50 years later, we were like, hey, I tell you what, why don't you give us, before the Chinese retake over Hong Kong, give us a 999-year lease. We'll knock the rent off your bill, and we'll all be good. And the Brits are like, yeah, score, decent, because it wasn't going to be part of England anymore. It was going to be part of China. So they wrote up this contract, 999-year lease. The U.S. has got this great piece of property for the next millennia in Hong Kong. And the Brits got to knock down their war bill a bit. Isn't it cool how government works sometimes? Speaking of Brits, this is actually the British International School. So the British diplomats and British residents, in fact, Wayne Rooney's kids went here when Wayne Rooney was playing for DC United. And Wayne Rooney's dad was actually Wayne Rooney's dad. Wayne Rooney, the dad, was here a lot doing like school pickup runs and getting a cup of coffee. And I remember reading an interview with him, and he's like, for the first time in my life, I'm just a normal parent, because nobody really knew who he was. I mean, they might have, but they just left him alone. So he was free to just do things like go to parent-teacher conferences and get a cup of coffee with his classmates' parents and just be like a normal guy. And I think he actually enjoyed that. Where's he back now? He's like the player coach is he at Derby County or something back in England now? I forgot where he's at. You really want to see the White House? Oh, well, you're gonna in a bit. Like a half hour. You could Alexa, set reminder, 30 minutes, White House. Oh. It's another one of those vegetarian billboards. This one to save turkeys on Thanksgiving. So we're now starting to enter Georgetown. Sure. So over across the street, you might just see a Starbucks. It's a rather small one, and it's been there for a long time. In fact, that Starbucks plays a role in the Clinton conspiracies, conspiracy theories about Bill Clinton. You may have seen that there's, quote, the Bill Clinton death list, okay? It's people associated with Bill Clinton who have died in mysterious circumstances. It's popular on many websites. Now, one of the people on that was a young college-age guy who I guess had interned at the White House or something like that, and then was taking a job as a barista at the Starbucks. One night, that Starbucks got robbed, and sadly, I think 3 people working there were murdered. And of course, that went up on the Bill Clinton conspiracy death list. But it was actually just a random street crime. Starbucks, I think, donated all the profits from that restaurant for like the last 20 years to the families of those 3. I'm not a big coffee drinker. I actually live above a Starbucks, but I don't really go for coffee. You know, one of the advantages of living next to a Starbucks is there's pretty much a cop downstairs in my house every day. It also means that most like other parents who are going to do like play dates with my kids, they know immediately where I live. We're like, oh, we're above the Starbucks. Oh, I know that Starbucks. Like, okay. It does smell interesting, yeah? So, coming up on the left is the Georgetown Public Library on a hill actually called Book Hill for some reason. Interestingly, last summer, or the summer before COVID, they had to shut this library down for a week. The reason? Snakes on a book. They found a bunch of snakes slithering through the library one day. Can you imagine being down in the stacks, all into your books, and suddenly this snake like comes out off the top of the book? Ah! So they had a snake infestation, and they had to go through and gather up all these little garter snakes or whatever they were. Snakes in a library, coming to Sci-Fi Channel. Yeah, really snakes, like real snakes. The snow's letting up a little bit. It's still snowing, but it's not those big pretty flakes that we had earlier today. Slightly annoying. So we are entering Georgetown. Right here is Reservoir Road. This goes out to, surprise, a reservoir where the Washington, D.C. gets its drinking water. But if you go down Reservoir Road, you pass the Georgetown University Hospital, the French Embassy, and just slightly off of it is also the German Embassy. The French and German embassies are huge compounds. So they're off the beaten thing. Georgetown University, so this street here is 33rd Street, yeah, 33rd, and Georgetown University is at 37th. So 4 blocks off to my right and a couple blocks down. Can't really see it from this street, but it's over there, half a mile or so. A student would live around this area, would have actually a pretty heavy walk to get to school. I mean, they do it, but they would probably be kind of grumpy. They might even drive. Most Georgetown students live on campus now, I think. This section here is kind of like called French Row or something, because there's like a lot of French shops here that specialize in like French food or French goods and whatnot, French bakeries, vino or wine shops, all sorts of other stuff. Yeah. So they have like this one weekend where it's like French Day or whatever. They have like outdoor markets set up and stuff like that. WLL Radio once was here. Okay. Cool. What's his name? Henry Rollins? You know Henry Rollins, the actor slash punk band guy? He went to Georgetown, I think, or he was from DC. And Henry Rollins used to play gigs around here. And there was like a punk rock radio station at Georgetown that was like one of like the founders of punk rock in America. And Henry Rollins played, and Bad Brains, that was a punk rock band out of DC. African American punk rock band. Mostly Babbitt. No, I haven't seen it. Yeah. Bad Brains was like, they were like really good musicians who said, you know what, let's play this punk. So they started playing punk rock. Now I'm going to be singing Bad Brains all day today. Oh, that's just is it? No, that's actual like little cups of paper or something. It's kind of cool. That's a salon. Ah, my feet are getting wet. The rents here are atrocious, if that's a proper word to describe rents. Ah. This place rents saris, or sells like Indian saris, and I have never understood how they have survived so many years selling unique clothes like that in Georgetown. It's not really a place where people would go. Terrorists are plotting to kill the President of the United States. My name is Jack Bauer. That's what that beep sounded like, yeah. Yeah, there's just not a large Indian community in this area. There is one out in Northern Virginia, but not here in Georgetown. Good morning. This is a really expensive gas station. I actually paid like $1 less than that, just out in the suburbs a bit. Oh, it's the scooter man, picking up the scooters. I don't know what the scooter guys get. They get like $5, $5 to $10 per scooter that they charge. So late at night, like the Uber drivers come driving around picking up all the scooters. That's the Georgetown Club. That's a private club. Pretty good food. Of course, I go to a private club that's all fancy with a chef flown in from Paris. And they're like, oh, so what can we get for you tonight? And I'm like, burger, medium fries, Diet Coke. And they're just like, yes, okay, sir. Because I'm just kind of an ordinary guy. And my dinner guests are like, oh, wouldn't you rather have Grey Poupon on the veal shanks? And I'm like, burger, fries, Coke. More dining pods. Columbia Hospital for Women. Yeah, we're going to actually walk past that. It is now an apartment complex. So over on the left there, that is Thomas Sweet's Ice Cream. That's actually a really good homemade ice cream place. That's where Biden and Obama went for ice cream in a series of viral photos that went around. They just sort of popped in there one day. I was like, hey, let's get some ice cream. So there's pictures of him eating ice cream. Actually, there's pictures of most presidents eating ice cream there. So we're in the 3200 block of P as in Paul Street. And this is the road up to Georgetown campus. This is one of the streets where the old trolleys used to ride, and they've kept it in its cobblestone trolley track nature, even though the trains no longer go up there. It's actually a real pain in the butt to drive on when it's snowing. The Georgetown movie theater is still here, but it's a coffee shop now. But it still has the iconic Georgetown neon sign that's on it. You can see that sign actually in the movie St. Elmo's Fire, which was filmed here in Georgetown in the 1980s. I think it also was in the movie Dave with Kevin Kline. But it's actually a pretty funny movie. Sigourney Weaver, Kevin Kline, Dave. It's a political movie, comedy. French bakery. Oh man, they've got some good stuff. Keep going, diet. Oh, and they had like everything. They had like croissants, crepes, baguettes. Oh, they had just food everywhere. Perfect. Scotty, you're so boring. Yeah, well, life is boring sometimes. There's a 7-Eleven. So I was mentioning the movie Dave. This 7-Eleven was actually Dave's employment agency in the movie. So if you watch the show, you'll see this building. It was red at the time. And I remember when they were filming here, people were like trying to come up to get jobs. They're like, it's an employment agency, I need a job. And they're like, it's a movie set, I'm sorry. Oops. So this place right in front of us is a pizza restaurant now. But it used to be a restaurant called Au Pied du Couchon. And one day, a Russian defector who had left Russia to join the United States was having dinner here with his 2 FBI handlers. He looked at the 2 FBI guys and said, I really need to go to the bathroom. And they're like, yeah, go ahead. So he went into the bathroom and he climbed up and kicked out a window, and then he ran up the road to the Russian embassy. He arrived at the Russian embassy. He's like, let me in, let me in. The FBI, CIA kidnapped me and drugged me and made me defect. I want to go back home to Mother Russia. So they let him in. He was paraded around Russian TV. See, our diplomat has returned from being drugged by the evil CIA. And then he went to Siberia for a while, a long while. But I read recently he's back. He does exist. He's not like in a gulag or anything. That's Martin's Tavern. That place has been around since the 50s. Truman used to drink there. Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Bush, all the presidents would come to Georgetown and hang out at Martin's Tavern. It's heavily rumored that Kennedy wrote his inaugural address on a yellow notepad in a booth there. It's called the Kennedy booth. And if you go in there and make a reservation, it's like, I'd like to dine tonight at the Kennedy booth. And they'll let you sit where he sat. It was sort of his regular place. I believe that's where he proposed to Jacqueline Onassis, or Jacqueline Beauvoir Kennedy Onassis. Isn't that her name? It's pretty famous. It's been around forever. Hang on a second. We're going to take a slight pause here for a battery charge. Ugh. Well, the presidents used to like to get out. You know? Right, they do have a lot of liquor at the White House, but so, sorry, I'm just placing a battery pack on my camera. And we've got electricity. So let's get our umbrella back up. How much is that chair? I don't even know. This one? This one. This one's on sale for $1,700, $1,695, and it was $3,300. So it's on sale now, special price. My grandma has that same chair. I'll give it to you for 20 bucks. You just have to get the smell of grandma out of it. The presidents, they don't really go for walks. This is the Apple store right now, currently kind of closed-ish. Hello. $30 haircuts at the White House barber shop. Yeah, I mean, I used to go to this salon and my haircut was like 60 bucks in DC. And I don't have that much hair. I finally got to the point, I'm like, what am I paying for? So I bought like a $30 clippers, and now I just sort of cut my own hair most of the time. I mean, it's been lockdown, yeah? So I don't really care. This used to be Riggs Bank, now it's PNC Bank. It's always a bank. Capital One bought that property to turn it into like the Capital One Cafe. Because, you know, when you think about banking, you think about lattes. I don't know. Banks do stupid stuff when it comes to buying property. There we go, let's get the camera straight. They paid $15 million for that piece of property. Everybody in Georgetown was like, what sort of stuff are they smoking? Capital One has a cafe, yeah. Blues Alley is still around, so there is an alley behind those shops over there called Blues Alley, and it has a blues club. That's actually one of the most famous blues clubs in the country, I think. I mean, like foreign heads of state, like Václav Havel, who is one of the guys in the Czechoslovakia or whatever, he was a big blues fan. So when he came here on an official state visit, he went to Blues Alley. That was like his night out in Washington. There are a lot of credit unions here, but I don't know if there are in this neighborhood. But DC is filled with credit unions, like the NASA Employees Credit Union, the Pentagon Credit Union, the Capital. Oops, hang on a second. Why are you doing that? So this battery pack is kind of annoying. I had to like unplug it a bit because the wire was bugging me. That was actually my thought this morning. How am I going to handle a phone and this camera and an umbrella and not kill myself? The answer is I need to get a new tripod that can handle the phone and this camera at the same time. They make them. I have to just get one. Over there is an Amazon bookstore. Let's go over that side. Also, there's a Lorry's over there. Let's not get killed. Streaming, I can stream for about 4 hours on an iPhone 12 battery. 3 hours maybe. An umbrella pack, that would be cool. So what is this, Laudry? This is a place, they actually have one in Paris. There's a Paris streamer, Mokhtar Kane. M-O-C-K-T-A-R, Mokhtar Kane. And he took me and my kids to this store in Paris when we were visiting many years ago. Amazon supermarket is just Whole Foods. This is the Amazon bookstore. This used to be nice because you used to be able to return your Amazon purchases here. We used to drop stuff off there instead of having to ship it. Up here is the Nike store. This is all Nike stuff. Ford's Theater is on the other side of the White House. It's actually quite a hike from here. We'll go there one day. It's, hang on, big truck. It's gonna get loud. If you guys got headphones on, you're gonna be complaining. Oh, and he ran the red light. Red? That doesn't apply to snow plows. We are snow plows. He's gonna run that one too. This must be an emergency snow plow. I'm Plow. Call Mr. Plow. That's his name. His name again is Mr. Plow. And if you're not a Simpsons aficionado, you have no idea why I just sang that. It's no more pretty snow. Now it's just meh. Just rainy meh. Your truck's on, okay. Do people who live in snowy places live depressed? When the snow is actually falling, no, you're not depressed. It's beautiful, it's peaceful, it's quiet, it's fun. A few hours after the snow falls and it starts to turn gray, then it gets kind of eh. And then when you step your foot in a big pile of slush, that's depressing. We're gonna go all the way through today, and I think we're gonna go home, and I think the wife has made me a Chinese breakfast. In my old Hong Kong days, I said, let's go to the Asian grocery and buy some of these things. So I think I'm going to have mantou for breakfast, which is a steamed bun. It's just a piece of bread, basically, but it's steamed and it's soft and it's kind of yummy. I used to eat those in Hong Kong. Oh, the sledding scope, yeah, that was pretty crazy. That's on my Periscope feed where we went sledding and I did it with the camera. That was pretty crazy. The mentally ill are treated poorly in DC. Many of them are on the street. They need to do better. It's popular in books today. The Age of Wood. That's a kind of interesting book. The FBI Way. The tour bus we're located right next to the Four Seasons Hotel. So this is the Four Seasons Hotel. Tour bus is some group of someones or whatnot on a trip. It's all guys with suits. I'm looking inside, it's all suits. It's not National Guard. Most of the tour bus you've seen lately have been filled with National Guard soldiers. But they're not staying at the Four Seasons. They're at the Days Inn or something like that. Or sleeping in a parking garage, as we all saw. Oh, you're asking about the mentally ill. This guy's got like 8 shopping carts. DC does have some shelters, but the shelters are a little bit sketchy sometimes. I've read like people who've become homeless say they don't feel safe in the shelters. There's crazy people, there's drug problems, there's violence. So the city has been trying to spread out the shelters. In fact, they just opened one in our neighborhood. They built an emergency shelter in our neighborhood for families. So we have I think there's like 40 families. These are like people who lose their house in a fire or some sort of financial difficulty. They put them up in this shelter near our house, here next to a police station. That was Rock Creek Parkway. And we're getting closer to the White House. We're in the final 10 blocks or so. Maybe I'll take you down a different path this way because I've taken you down this street before. So we'll go a different road to the White House today. Show you something different. I think they do have some food services at the shelters. there's also private entities that go around to the various parks at night and feed the homeless. So what are we at? 26th Street. The White House is 1600 Pennsylvania. Right now we're at 2600 Pennsylvania. So we got about 10 blocks to go. But with traffic circles and detours, we'll take a little bit longer to get there. Red light. There's a car here. I don't think they wear yellow vests. Coming back in a few weeks. Well, that'll be good. We visit your daughter. Not much else to visit. DC's kind of shut down right now. No museums or restaurants. Somebody was talking about the Columbia Hospital for Women. That's just right up here on my left. It was I believe it was a private hospital that did women's services. But one of the things was they provided abortions, so the pro-lifers were really protesting out here all the time. And then I think they ran into some financial difficulties, and then they went out of business. So they took the building itself, gutted it, turned it into this like really posh apartment complex. When my son was born, I remember there was a doctor in my hospital that actually had a Columbia Hospital for Women like necklace tag. And she's like, yeah, there's a few of us still around. Had to find a job somewhere. He got mugged at Ford's Theater. Well, he made off better than the president. There are a lot of tourists down by the Ford's Theater, so I think there are a lot of people that kind of prey on people down there. If you mug a tourist, so it's a 50-50 chance that they'd even come back to testify against you. You've been to this church? I think they're in service. It's actually kind of early still. I don't think they've opened yet. Melrose Place. I do need an umbrella hat. But to be honest, it's kind of stopped. So that beautiful snow that we started with has now turned to misty nothingness. Now you can still probably hear some rain falling, yeah? It is gloomy. What would be awesome is if I could put this gimbal on my hat. And I could just broadcast from my baseball cap. Washington Monument? Is that the log pillar you're talking about? I don't know what happened to Google Glasses. Oh boy. Guys, we're near George Washington University Hospital. This is an ambulance magnet. I hear one coming. If it gets closer, it's gonna get loud. Sorry. But we're gonna have some headphone issues. We'll see if he makes his way this way. That is the hospital where Reagan was taken when he was shot. Yep, here they come. Cover your ears. I think there's also a fire truck. Yep. No, another ambulance. There are 2 ambulances going down there. Maybe some sort of accident. There's those buses we saw earlier. That was another thing that changed after living overseas 10 years. I came back to America, and ambulances, which were basically once like Ford Econoline vans, suddenly became miniature trucks. So all the ambulances are like big. Yeah, you know, it's just like, huh. And someone said, yeah, Americans are getting fat. But then an EMT told me, he says, no, we just do a lot more in the ambulance now, so we need more room. I'm like, okay. So, but it was a change. I was just like, dang, is that a fire truck? No, it's a big ambulance. Optimus Prime ambulance. In Hong Kong, they use Mercedes Sprinters type ambulances. Oh, wait a second. Oh, I just saw him go down there by the Lincoln Memorial. So this used to be George Washington Hospital, and then they moved across the street over to there. I think I showed you guys this the other day. So today, instead of going straight down Pennsylvania, we're going to go down K Street. K Street is synonymous with lobbying in Washington, D.C. The big money law firms and political action groups are generally referred to as K Street. You know, you have Wall Street being New York, and then K Street. Now, that said, most of the lobbyists no longer live on K Street. Traffic's too ugly. They have nice places somewhere else. But if you say the word K Street, everybody knows what you mean. Sadly, some more homeless people camped out here. Yeah, those red bikes are everywhere. All right, so we're at 22nd Street. I'm gonna walk down to 16th Street, and then I'm gonna cut over to the White House. So we got about 6 blocks down and then 2 or 3 blocks over, and we'll be at the White House. Oh, the rain is starting to turn back into snow, which is nice. And that's the George Washington University over there. Oh, those red bikes are rental bikes. I think you have to like activate them with a credit card. They don't actually move unless you scan them. They have like these permanent brakes and locks set up. People figure out ways to hack them, of course. But generally, most people just use them and then you just ditch it. So this building is part of the World Bank Group on my right. It's Sunday morning. It was snowing. The city's got COVID. Yeah, this is kind of normal for a Sunday morning in Washington, D.C. It's kind of why it's fun to be here. It's like all to myself, yeah? Peaceful. So this is International Finance Corporation, part of the World Bank Group. IFC invests in private companies in the developing world. So if you have like a cattle farm in Africa or something and you need investment assistance, they'll come help you out. This Super Bowl Sunday. That's true. Most people are out like last minute snacks. I wonder if Costco sells like a ton of big screen TVs this week and then has people like come and return them next week. But TVs are so cheap here. I was just like, Because in Hong Kong, TVs are really expensive, you know. And I moved here, and it was just like, oh, you're kidding me. I can get how big of a TV for $400? Breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law. I have a when was the last? I have a 2014 Samsung from Hong Kong. And then just for Christmas, I bought myself a new Samsung. But I still have the other one in a different room. But the one I bought in 2014 was 3 times the price and like 15 inches smaller than the one I bought a couple years ago. I mean, last Christmas. Just crazy. It's cool though. So the TV I bought a while ago, I actually have it configured to be a UK television. So it has UK smart TV apps on it. And then when I hook it into my network, which is kind of funky set up, I can watch the BBC, I can watch ITV, I can watch all the British TV channels on that one. My new one is a QLED or OLED, whatever they call it. So the old TV is our British TV, and the new TV is an American TV, basically. I was sitting there with the wife the other day, and I was just like, you know, I think we pay 50 or 60 bucks for cable television, and I don't really know what we're getting. I mean, we don't really watch TV. We watch YouTube or Netflix. Maybe we should just get rid of this. My new TV was like, my old TV was like 55 inches, and I think my new one's a 75 inch. Apple TV. You use Apple TV? Okay. So here's, you guys want to look at these. This is an Uber bike. Yeah. This has got a battery in it. So this is a pedal assist bike. So like when you want to go uphill, the battery kind of like gives you some help. It's really quite cool. I don't know what the rate is. It's like $1 to unlock it, and then like 25 cents a minute or something like that. 30 cents a minute. So I can like pedal home for like $6, $7, something like that. And then you just park it, scan it, and then somebody else takes it. Game over. Ah, 18th Street. We're heading to 16th Street. 1600 Pennsylvania. So just a couple more blocks, guys. Whew. Breaking the law, breaking the law. You can tell I watched too much Beavis and Butthead when I was a kid. Kid being like 35. It's all a swamp. Though I will say my toes are still pretty dry. I've done pretty well with that. Well, the beautiful snow that I came out to show you is now gone, replaced by misty cold rain. It's like, yeah, Asia is all brand new buildings. Over here is kind of old. But it's like, it's raining enough to hold the umbrella up, but then it doesn't look like it, and I constantly said, maybe I should take the umbrella down. It's like one of those kind of rains. Yeah, where I lived in Hong Kong, and we still had old buildings. We'd go up to Shenzhen, though, which is a city of about 12 million people just across the border from Hong Kong. And most of Shenzhen's been built in the last 20 years. So it's just like, it's all brand new buildings and wide freeways, and It's really quite crazy. Yeah, there's a subway station over here I'm actually debating later. So what's the national debt? 27 trillion. This is a national debt clock. 27,854,851,682,066. That's your national debt for today. I wonder what the debt service is on that. 3% maybe? I forgot the coins. I thought those things were actually moving upwards or downwards all the time. Yeah, they're talking another 2 trillion. Another 10%, I guess I will. Not even 10%. A little less than that. Or more. So we're at K Street approaching Connecticut Avenue. This is actually the other day when I took you up to the White House, I showed you the White House Visitors Center and Gift Shop. That was over here on Connecticut. Oh, it's starting to snow again. Just on cue. We had some snowflakes again. Yay! That's why I came here. I wanted to see the snow. I don't want to see rain. I see riding. I see rain all the time, yeah? This is Farragut Square. You know, about 90 to 95% of the downtown DC worker population is now work from home. So a lot of these shops are suffering, have gone out of business. People don't really shop down here very often anymore. It used to be people would go shopping on their lunch hour or after work or something, but now with work from home, these stores are, I don't think they're going to last. And then the banks move in. So down there on the right is, the next block down is the National Geographic building. So if you guys like National Geographic magazine, that's their headquarters. Though also the top floors are currently the Australian Embassy, because the Australian Embassy is under a massive renovation, and renovation in the sense that right now the Australian Embassy is a hole in the ground. So they rented several floors of the National Geographic. Alexa, open National Geographic Geo Quiz. Those of you who have Alexa are now realizing there is a thing called the National Geographic Geo Quiz, which is on Alexa. My kids do it every morning, try to stay up to date on geography. Kind of like our morning trivia contest. They still have the annoying habit though, when they start to do badly, they start to fail on purpose. I meant to fail, Dad. I'm like, no, don't do that. Yeah, I can, when I live stream and I make Alexa calls, sometimes Alexas do open up. It's kind of fun. Oh, look, there's a burger joint. Smells like coagulated burger grease. Coagulated burger grease. Okay, so we've got a police car right here, and he is the northern block of Black Lives Matter Plaza. Black Lives Matter Plaza is where the mayor of DC painted Black Lives Matter in big gigantic letters on the road and closed off the road so people could gather to protest at the White House. So here is BLM Plaza. There's the St. Regis Hotel, which has now lost vehicle access. Not too happy about that. I don't know if they're ever going to reopen this street. Just down ahead is the White House. So at the end of the street there is the White House. That's our final destination. The bus signs continue their hunt for people from, well, this is a missing person, but this other one is the Capitol bomber. This person placed a explosive device next to the Democratic National Headquarters and the Republican National Headquarters. This woman is missing, by the way. If you see her, contact DC Police. And there's the DNC headquarters, there's the RNC, and then the US Capitol is just above that. There's the device they placed. Oh, so quiet today. When did I get out? I came out this morning, I don't know, about an hour ago. I'll tell you exactly. We started this broadcast 75 minutes ago. So this is about a 75-minute walk. Now today, I walked through Georgetown. I didn't come directly. I can actually get here quite a bit faster, but I've shown you that route so many times. So this is the big... Is there any inside a police car? Yes, there are. There's a couple up here. In fact, there's a police car at pretty much every intersection. Oh wow, they've actually put up the signs now. Black Lives Matter Plaza. So they took down all the signs that were up on the fence. There are all these signs, and everybody thought it was somewhat nefarious, you know, like, oh, somebody came out in the middle of the night, ripped down the signs. It turns out the signs were carefully taken down by archivists and historians who are documenting the history of the protest. So every sign was taken down and cataloged, location, what it said, and they have these huge collections of protest memorabilia. The Smithsonian American History Museum actually has a group that specializes in protests. So they came out here, I don't know if it was the museum or just activists, and they took down all the signs. That's what I wanted to see, though. So let's see if we can get in here through the fence. There we go. Ah. There you can see the second fence. And then there's actually another fence back there. I can't wait till all these fences clear out and we can actually go back into the park and enjoy life. But given all those trailers and fences, I think it's going to be a few weeks. Oof. This is a steam grate from the subway system. Some homeless people are using it for heat and warmth. Oh, we can make this light. So I think we'll walk back towards the subway. It's too wet. There's actually two subway lines here. There's the orange and blue line, which connects into Maryland and Virginia. Oh, and I guess technically the silver line. And then there's also the red line, which is a Maryland specific subway line, basically. They all sort of converge down here in the heart of DC. Can be frustrating though if you want to go from one end of Maryland's red line to the other. You've got to go all the way into the city and then all the way back out again. They talked about building a circular line. They ended up building a light rail called the Purple Line, which is going to go into service after they keep meeting all the expended budget expenses and construction delays. And I'm going to miss this light. Snow starting again. I gotta get this in my glove. Putting on my glove, one-handed putting on my glove while holding an umbrella and a camera in the other hand. So, sorry if you got dizzy. Subway entrance, but the wrong line. This is the orange lines. And I gotta go over to the red. There are police everywhere down here. That's the U.S. Secret Service Police. There's Capitol or DC Police. What was that bus we saw earlier? Whatever event they were doing. Oh, so they made the sidewalk wider down here due to COVID, so we could all have more room to walk, not bang into each other. Put up some pretty sidewalk divider barriers. Of course, it's a lot wetter in the road than it is on the sidewalk, so let's just opt for that option. I think we'll take the subway. We'll subway a couple blocks back towards my place. Oop. But it is a Sunday, which means we could be waiting a long time. Maybe we'll check first. Maybe it'll be faster to walk. Whew. Steps are really slippery walking down these steps. Not exactly the most brilliant idea I've had. Oh, we got 3 minutes till a train comes. I can do that. That's my umbrella. Minutes. Heck, the train's right here now. Timing, timing, timing. Yeah. Woohoo. Carriage.
Step back to allow customers to exit. When boarding, please move to the center of the car.
So, let's see what we can do here.
This is a red line train to Shady Road. The next stop is DuPont Circle. Step back. Doors open.
Hang on a second.
Doors opening on the left. Doors open. Step back to allow customers to
Never a bag full of money. It could be. So this train continues on into suburban Maryland. The other train is going downtown DC. It's actually kind of neat. The tunnels are so small and the train's so big that a big air pocket is pushed in front of the train through the tunnel. Sometimes your ears actually pop in the train because of the air pressure. But when the trains come out of the tunnel, there's this tremendous breeze. Whoosh. Actually use it to cool off in the summer. Man, I can barely hear what she's saying.
Also, do not run, jump, or play on the escalators or stairs, and stay away from the platform edge. Please watch your steps.
So we were just down at the White House. We got on the train here, went 1, 2, 3 stops up to this area. We're going to walk over to the cathedral now. Here you can see the National Zoo, and then the stop that I'm at, and then the cathedral is right over here. So about 3/4 of a mile as the crow flies. By the way, I've been told that as the crow flies is an American expression. That means the straight distance. I'm not sure if they use that in other countries, but so if I ever say as the crow flies, you know what I mean. The thing about being a video streamer is you've got all this equipment. I've got 2 microphones on, I've got cables, I've got batteries, and just untangling from all this, I kind of actually enjoy the peace and quiet of this escalator for a moment. So there goes that microphone. We're using a wireless microphone on this camera. Ugh. I normally walk up the escalator, but today my feet are all wet, the escalator is wet, it's just, and my hands are filled with devices and umbrellas. How you doing?
Have a nice day.
Yep. I think the guy wanted to ask me for money, but I was wearing a camera. He didn't want that. This is my Hong Kong International School umbrella, and I use it because it's actually it's designed for sun, because it's got like a thing on the inside. It's actually a really good umbrella. I do stand out a little bit. Oh, let's go where the Cuban Missile Crisis was solved. A Chinese restaurant. Not joking. Oh, it's snowing again. It's cooler up here than it is downtown. Fire station. So this nondescript, what is that kind of building, used to be a Chinese restaurant called Yenqing Palace. And I think they even got a picture of Yenqing Palace. Yeah. Yenqing Palace. Now, Yenqing Palace was famous because diplomats from the Kennedy administration, or not diplomats, media people, I think it was. There we go. According to history, during the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962, emissaries of President Kennedy and Nikita Khrushchev held a series of secret meetings at this restaurant in which the terms to solve the Cuban Missile Crisis were hammered out over dumplings and dim sum. So this restaurant, Yenqing Palace, is where the secret negotiations took place to come up to a solution to the Cuban Missile Crisis. It got turned into a CVS after the Chinese food wasn't that good. I ate there a couple times. Got turned into a CVS, then that place went back up. Now it's just an empty building. So a little bit of history. I'm also told that some of the initial rapprochement with China between Kissinger, Nixon, and Mao, there were some high-level diplomatic meetings and even maybe like a dinner that was held at Yenqing Palace as part of that major change in U.S. foreign policy. So we're up in the northwest part of Washington, D.C., back by the National Cathedral. We're going to head over there, and then I'm going to go back home and start editing up this video. This area is known as Cleveland Park. It's a retail section, some restaurants, a really good movie theater, now closed, and a few other things. This is about 3/4 of a mile from my house. I come down here occasionally, but it's a downhill walk, so it's not that bad, but it's an uphill walk back to my house. And it's easier just to shop in my neighborhood, which is more flat. So coming up on my right is one of DC's largest movie theaters, the Uptown. The Uptown Theater has a balcony, has a huge screen, can seat hundreds, if not, I don't even, thousands of people. But unfortunately, due to COVID, it went basically out of business. It was part of the AMC chain. Then AMC said it was no longer profitable to have a one theater, even though it was a beautiful, old, massive theater. So now the building is unoccupied. There's hopes another theater chain might come in. Of course, not right now. Nobody's going to movies. I saw all sorts of big movies there. I saw The Matrix. I saw Star Wars, the new one. I saw Lawrence of Arabia. Oh God, Lawrence of Arabia on a huge screen. That was amazing. I used to love films. Wonder when the next time I get to see a movie will be in a theater. So we're going to turn up this side street and start going up the hill. Hills. Whoa! Ah, diplomat. So this guy just decided to do a U-turn in the middle of the street, but he's got a blue diplomatic license plate, which means basically the law doesn't apply to him. If there had been an accident, cops couldn't write him a ticket. And the guy's insurance company would kind of have to just write that one off. Whenever I see a diplomatic tag on a car, I just like change lanes, stay away. All right, here we go. Where are we going? It goes up. Quote that memorable line from Ghostbusters. We go up. It is snowing again, though. I'm happy to see that. I was getting sick of that misty stuff, but it's not sticking. This is not really a sledding kind of day. This is kind of just enjoy the scenery kind of day. Now this area of Washington, D.C. used to be kind of agricultural. There used to be a lot of old farmhouses up here, and they kind of kept the style. A lot of the houses here were built to look like older farmhouses or older country houses. Check out the books. This is a pretty good selection of books here in this little library. As I mentioned, all these books are free. Just bring a book, trade a book. There was some controversy a few months ago. Somebody wrote a letter complaining about the little library system, saying that little libraries were destroying big libraries, which provided needed services and jobs to librarians and to the community. So if you had a little library, you were being selfish to the needs of the community. It generated much scrubbing and hand-holding and ringing and whatnot. It's kind of a bizarre world. The jet you hear is from Reagan National Airport. That's about 4 miles away downtown by the Pentagon. You can fly to Reagan National from most of the parts of the United States. But it's not an international airport. I think you can go to like the Bahamas, but generally it's not an international. Ugh, slushy. I think we've almost got done with the uphill. We're on Newark Street, Newark, coming up to like, I don't know, 34th, 35th. Oh, let's look here. No, 30th, 31st. Go down and uphill. Oof. It's pretty over here. Oof, and I hit a tree. So up here is the campus of the Washington International School. It's a school that's popular with many of the diplomatic families. I believe they teach the IB program, which is something more popular in Europe and other parts of the world than the American college degree or high school diploma. What is it, IB versus AP? Something like that. You'll find massive debates on which is better, though the IB seems to be more accepted in the international school environment. Somewhere over here. Maybe it's a little block down. Whew, it's really snowing now. Ugh, slush. We're about 4 blocks from the cathedral and my home. Normally I walk down to the White House and then I just walk back. Today I just was like, you haven't had breakfast, it's early, you're wet, let's just get back quickly. I don't know which side of the street to walk on. There's pretty houses on both. These houses are multi-million dollar houses. The big ones are like $5 million. I mean, easily $4 or $5 million. And then the super big ones are 10. We've gone house hunting around here, but it's just crazy. I've been told the banks won't even write a mortgage here because the values are so out of whack. People are just paying cash. Location, 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 because the housing stock isn't really nothing to write home about. We looked at one place which was a 6,000 square feet, recently renovated, and I think they wanted $6.4 million for it, 6.4 I think it was. I think they ended up selling for like 5.9 or something. Then we looked at another place that had like 5,000 square feet, but a pool, and they wanted 4.2 million or something like that. My wife's like, oh, this is pretty. I'm like, yeah, if my kidneys were made of gold, then I could find someone to sell them to. Yeah, I'm not in the market for those type of houses. Wife does like looking at them. Back in the day of open houses. It's getting slushy on the sidewalks. Another plow coming. Again, not plowing. There's not really much to plow. I think they're just spreading sand and salt. Oh, there's some little kids sledding over there. So this is actually a private park. To save this park from going to developers, the neighbors of the community banded together and bought the land. And now they run it as a private park open to the general public. Little kids come here to go sledding. The hills aren't too steep, so they don't get scared. Whee! Ugh, slushy. Really slushy. So we're going to go up, down to the left here is the cathedral. I think we'll end the video at the cathedral. I could end the video at my apartment, but it's just a grocery store. It's not really eye-catching or interesting. Not like an old 100-year-old building standing up in the snow. It is pretty. So here we are, 36 and Macomb Street, and we're making our way 2 more blocks down to the National Cathedral. Which would be actually tremendously beautiful photos here if they would just get rid of all the power lines. It's like one of the most iconic views in the neighborhood, and it's just crisscrossed with cable TV lines, electricity lines. So you gotta just bury these things. People in this neighborhood could afford to bury them. Lowell Street, 36 Lowell. The next street is Woodley, I think. So it's a pretty good walk. Not too long today. My feet aren't that wet. They're a little bit wet. I'll say damp. I didn't step in a puddle. That was I'm most afraid of, was stepping in a slush puddle and then having a wet sock for the whole hike. This police car has been parked here a long time, judging from the snow on it. I wonder if they forgot about it. It's not even from this sector. It's from another part of town. Interesting. There we go. Back to the cathedral in the snow. Just how we started, about an hour and a half ago. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this hike around Washington in the snow. I'm gonna go home, have some breakfast, get on with my day. Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe, like, comment, share, all that sort of stuff. And we'll keep making these videos. See you soon.